Alright, in this video we are going to talk about a very commonly asked question by the candidates, that is, what is written discourse? So it's a very commonly asked topic, written discourse, and today we are going to talk about written discourse and everything related to it, so that from today onwards you don't have any questions left regarding this. So first thing is, written discourse is something we call enabling skill. Now, enabling skill means skill required to answer certain types of question, but is not something that is directly important for the score you get in the exam. Or in other words, written discourse is an enabling skill which is required to answer a certain type of question in your exam. And by improving your written discourse skill, you might be able to improve your communicative skill, which is the skill that is actually important for education or migration purpose. So for those of you who do not know much about communicative skill and enabling skill, when you look at the scorecard, on the top of the scorecard you will see something called communicative skill, and it consists of a score for reading, writing, speaking and listening. And these are the only scores that you actually need to show to universities or to migration. So reading, speaking, writing, listening, this kind of a skill. And these scores that you get in reading, writing, speaking or listening, they are dependent on certain skills you need to possess, and these skills which enable you to communicate are called enabling skill. So it's a test where you are being assessed on your communication skill, and these communication skills depend on certain other skills which enable you to communicate. And that's why we call them enabling skills and communicative skill, and written discourse is an enabling skill. Now the next question is, if this is an enabling skill, which question type does it assist, or in which question type written discourse is important? Written discourse is only assessed on one question type, and that is essay writing. This is the only question in your exam where written discourse is evaluated, or where written discourse plays an important role. Or in other words, if your written discourse is weak, most likely you'll score less in essay writing, and if your written discourse is strong, you'll score more in essay writing. What that means is, by improving your written discourse score, you can increase your essay writing score, and by doing that you can increase your writing score. Now, if you are not familiar with the scoring of PTE, then I suggest that you watch our video about PTE scoring, and the link is in the description as well as in the pop-up you can see on the screen right now. And those of you who have already watched that video, perhaps you can remember that essay writing only affects your writing score, and it does not affect any other sections, unlike the other question types in PTE. Which means, if you improve your written discourse score, you increase your score in essay writing, thereby increasing score in writing only. From that perspective, this skill is not as important as other enabling skills such as pronunciation or fluency or grammar, vocabulary and spelling. Anyway, if written discourse is only important for essay writing, what are the things we need to do to get good score in written discourse, or what is it anyway? Written discourse, technically speaking, consists of 4 different factors, but in simple words, written discourse simply means how structured, logical, connected your essay is. In written discourse, there are 4 important things to keep in mind. Those 4 important things are, first is structure, and I will explain all of these items one by one. Second is something we call coherence. Third is what we call logical development, and fourth is linguistic resources. So these are the 4 things which can affect your written discourse score. So you can see that written discourse itself is not a very important skill, because it contributes to only one section, that is writing, and in only one question type, that is essay writing. But the skill itself requires 4 different other skills, And because of that, it becomes a little complicated. Now, those of you who are just getting started and whose score target is not that high, or who does not have much time for the preparation, I suggest that you spend your time on other skills like grammar, vocabulary, spelling, pronunciation, or fluency rather than on written discourse. Because there is a shortcut to improve your written discourse score, and that is by using the template. So you have two options. First option is you learn about structure, coherence, logical development, and linguistic resources. You work on these areas, improve your written discourse score, and then start writing good essay. The second option is you take a shortcut. You just learn a template and learn how to complete that template. By learning to complete the template, you will have covered all the important ideas that you need, all the important concepts that you need to learn to get high score in written discourse. But anyway, those of you who are interested in learning about written discourse, let me explain what these 4 elements mentioned here actually represent. So we are going to start with the structure. It's very simple. Your essay should have a structure that is consistent with traditional essay writing. Traditionally, essays have introduction, body, and conclusion. Now, as per the suggestions given by Pearson, your essay should have at least 4 paragraphs, 1 for introduction, 2 for body paragraphs, and 1 for conclusion. You can find more information about this recommendation in the link given in the description. You can read that article where Pearson has explained why they want you to write just 4 paragraphs. And it's better we follow their suggestions. So write 1 paragraph for introduction, 2 for body, and 1 for conclusion. Coherence. What it simply means is be focused. Before you start writing essay, make sure that you understand what is the topic of the essay and what is the focus of the essay. Every time you read a question, you should be able to figure this out. So if you have a question which says, should we educate children at home, then the question here has a topic and a focus. So topic here is education, and the focus is where should we educate children. So don't start writing everything about education. Only focus on one thing, that is whether the education of children should happen at home or at other places. So that means your focus is the place to educate. And when you are writing your answer, make sure that you're only talking about the place. You are trying to explain your arguments about the place. Whatever you are trying to say or you are saying should help you to place your argument in the right way and convince the person. So whatever you say should be helping you to establish your point as whether you think it's better to educate children at home or it is better to educate them elsewhere. You do not need to write anything about education, importance of education, or importance of education for children, or anything like that, because you have only 20 minutes and you have to be really focused, and your focus here is which place is the best place for education of children. Do you think it's home? If not, where do you think we should educate them? So that is called coherence, staying focused on the topic and making sure that all the ideas are leading you towards just one logical conclusion. And that's what brings us to our third element, that is logical development. When you are doing this, you have to make sure that you don't jump from one idea to another idea, and you have a proper logical development of your ideas. What that means is, of course, in the introduction, you introduce the topic, you write a short background, and you write a thesis statement. We are not going into the details of that, but how do you logically develop your idea? You logically develop your idea in the body paragraph, and while doing that, you must make sure that your paragraphs have a rational structure, a logical structure. It should start with the topic sentence and then supporting ideas. What that means is you should first write your main point in the topic sentence, and while doing this, do not include any examples or any supporting ideas in the topic sentence. Do not do this. This is something you do in the other sentences of the paragraph. So you write something very simple in the beginning of the paragraph. For example, if you think educating children at home is good, then you just write children feel more comfortable at home. That will be your topic sentence, and then you start explaining why they feel more comfortable at home, or what is the benefit of that, or how it helps them in learning better, and so on, in these supporting ideas. So logical development means you start with one simple idea and you explain and expand it, and then you change the paragraph and go to the next paragraph, but make sure that these paragraphs are well connected. And that is the reason why in the beginning of this discussion I told you that logical development also means how connected your ideas are and how smoothly you move from one idea to another idea. To make sure your ideas are well connected, you can use linkers, or you also call them linking words. Like when you start the new paragraph, you can say something like another argument is, another important point is, and so on. The last one here is linguistic resources. Linguistic resources means variety of structure, variety of words, ideas, and so on. This is one of the hardest criteria to fulfill because it in some way reflects how comfortable you are with the language and how familiar you are with different aspects of the language, how smoothly you can use different kinds of words in different contexts, how easily you can use topic vocabularies as well as uncommon words, how many structures you are using in your answer, whether you feel comfortable writing simple sentences, complex sentences, and so on. So you can see that these are the 4 elements which affect your written discourse score. Now, some people score very low in written discourse and despite that get their desired score. The reason for that is, as I told you, written discourse itself affects only your essay writing score. And even if you don't do that well in essay writing, if you are really good in other aspects of writing, that means other questions which affect writing, you can still get nice score in your exam. So whether or not you should focus on written discourse depends on how good you are in other questions which affect your writing score. If you have no idea which questions affect your writing score, then again, you should go back to the video where I have discussed the score distribution of PTE. If you think that you have enough time and you are also interested in learning about written discourse and how to improve on those skills, then you can work on the areas I mentioned in this video, which are structure, coherence, logical development, and linguistic resources. Practice, get feedback from your tutor, and keep working on that. Otherwise, for the purpose of this exam, even if you just follow a template and learn how to complete the template, it will be more than enough. If you think this video has helped you in learning some important points which will help you to get a score in the exam, then do not forget to like the video and share it with your friends. If you have not already subscribed to our channel, you can do it now. If you have any questions, please write in the comments. I'll try my best to answer all your questions. Until my next video, stay safe.